Hmm. Still not live yet.
You should be live.
Oh, I should be?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. So inshallah we'll continue from our Seerah session from the last week. So we were in the 6th year of Dawah. And in the 6th year of Dawah, something extraordinary happened. What was the extraordinary that happened was the conversion of two great um, people of Makkah at that time. So who were these people? These were the Hamza and Umar radiallahu anha. So Hamza, let's talk about the story of Hamza first, Hamza conversion first. So Hamza, who was the uncle of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and at this point of time, he's not a Muslim, but he was known for his bravery. He was quite popular in Mecca. He has a huge respect. And so he is one of the very prominent figure in Mecca. One day, Abu Jahl was abusing Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was abusing in front of the Kaaba, and he was saying some very harsh words to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And there was no one who came to defend Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. People were in and around listening, but nobody came to defend Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And it's being also said in some narration that was he also physically abused Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam at that time as well. There was this woman who was standing and listening and seeing all that, and she got very disturbed and very sad of what's happening. And this woman was from Banu Hashim tribe. Banu Hashim was one of the sub-tribe of Quraysh, as we all know, right? So she got very perturbed and disturbed of with the incident. So while this incident got over and she was walking towards her home, she met Hamza on the way. Hamza, that he was returning from the hunting trip. He used to go on hunting a lot, and he was returning from one of his hunting trip. So he has bow and arrow in his hand, and as he was coming out, he met this lady, and this lady saw Hamza, and she complained about it, and she said that, this is what Abu Jahl has done to your nephew, and no one came to defend her. No one came to actually has said anything in response to Abu Jahl. Are you being an uncle? Be quiet on this. Will you be just listening that the Abu Jahl was cursing your forefathers? Abu Jahl was, insulting the whole family. The Abu Jahl was insulting the whole tribe, and are you going to just be quiet with that? When she said that, Hamza blood boiled, and he could not take it, and he realized that he has to do something, and he didn't even thinking at that time. He just straight away went to Abu Jahl, and Abu Jahl was standing in front of Kaaba, and he went there and he stuck his bow and on the head of Hamza and on Abu Jahl, and said, "How dare you said this to my nephew? How dare you can say this to my nephew? I'm his uncle, and I myself follow his religion. I am on his path. Do what you wanted to do to me now, and let me see what you can do to my nephew." And everyone heard that. Abu Jahl was shocked. People in and around were shocked, and he said, "Look what happened. Hamza also now become a Muslim?" Hamza hasn't become Muslim. He just said that out of a tribal, love for his nephew, or his, blood relationship with nephew. That's why his blood was boiling. So he went back. So Hamza, after he said that, he himself realized that what have he done? He hasn't accepted Islam, but he has said and he's made this statement in public, and now he cannot take it back. So he returned home, and he like Hindi now in a dilemma of what to do, because he, in front of everyone, he has said that he's a Muslim, but he's not a Muslim. He accepted Islam. So he made the dua, and he said, in the morning I will go and talk to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and see what happens. So he went to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to his nephew. He spoke to him. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam talked to him. He gave him the dawah. He gave him the call to the oneness of Allah. And Hamza, after understanding the Islam, decided to become a Muslim. And he became Muslim right and there. So that was a big news for the Quraysh, the enemies of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That now Hamza, the uncle of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, has become a Muslim, and he was a powerful figure. 3 days have passed, and another, extraordinary event happened, or any big event happened, and that big event was the conversion of Umar. What happened is that Abu Jahl called up a meeting of all the Quraysh leaders, or the enemies of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or the Muslims, or Islam. They got together in the Nadwa, in the meeting place, and they said, we have to do something. People are converting into Islam. Our family members, one of the other people, some of the family members of each of the tribe have become Muslim. So we have to stop the propagation of Islam as quickly as possible. And the only way we can do it, somebody can kill Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Who can kill Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Is there anybody who can kill Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? And Umar radiallahu anhu, who was sitting there, Umar, who was not a Muslim at that time, he was sitting in the gathering, and he is actually more powerful than Hamza. He was very well known. He has a huge respect, and he was sitting in that gathering, and he have seen that this is happening for quite some time now. This is the sixth year, and every day he hear about the complaints about Muslim this and Muslim that, and then he hear complaints about that they are changing our religion of forefather and this and that and this new religion. So he said, I will do it. I'm going to go and kill Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Actually, Abu Jahl also put a reward. He said, I'm going to there's a price tag on the one who is going to kill Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the price tag is 100 red camels, which is like a huge amount of money, which is like millions of dollars in today's time. That's the price tag Abu Jahl put on the person who is going to kill Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Umar decided to do that. Now, before we go in the story of Umar, prior to that, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to make dua, and he used to make dua that, Ya Allah, Allah, give his strength to Islam, especially give his strength to Islam. So he make a general dua that give his strength to Islam, and he also used to say, give strength to Islam, especially through either of the two men you love more, Umar radiallahu anhu and Abu Jahl. So Umar and Abu Jahl used to make dua that these two people become Muslim. At least one of them become Muslim, if not both. And this is a dua that he used to make to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why this? I mean, look at that. Umar, arch enemy of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, although he was not that worst of an enemy at that time, or even later, later he becomes a Muslim anyways, but he was not even at that point, he was not a very worst enemy. Yeah, he was against Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam because he was not a Muslim, but he was not a worst enemy. Abu Jahl was a worst enemy. And we just talked about it, that Abu Jahl used to curse and abuse Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And even for him, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was making a dua that he becomes a Muslim. So Allah have accepted the dua of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Allah has decreed that Umar will become a Muslim. So Umar next day stepped out of his house with his sword in his hand, ready to kill Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As he stepped out of the house, on the way he met a man who have secretly accepted Islam. And he saw Umar, and this man said, where are you going? Because he know that Umar is going with the sword, open sword in his hand, right? So he must be going to kill somebody. And he was worried. He said, where are you going? He said, I'm going to kill Muhammad. I'm going to go kill Muhammad. He has caused enough trouble. I'm going to get rid of him. This man got worried, and he said, okay, and he wants to distract Umar now. So he said, if you really wanted to, he first said that, are you crazy? If you're going to do that, don't you know the Banu Hashim will be all over on you? And Umar said, I don't care. He said, okay, if you don't care, do me a favor. Why don't you first go to your sister, go and fix your own house. Your sister has accepted Islam. And Umar's sister Fatima and her husband did accept Islam. So, but they were hiding their faith as well. So Umar said, what? My sister accepted Islam? So he said, yes. So Umar just changed the direction and started going towards his sister's house, because he decided to take care of his sister first. He came to his sister's house on the door, Inside the house, the story was that Fatima radiallahu anha, the sister of Umar, and her husband, Sa'id ibn Zayd, they have accepted Islam, and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has appointed a teacher to them who was teaching Islam to them. Who was his teacher? The teacher was Khabbab ibn Arad. Who was Khabbab ibn Arad? We talked about him. He was the one who used to be beaten by his uh, by his master, that iron smith lady, right, and was brutally being tortured because of being Muslim. He's the one who was teaching Fatima and Said bin Zayed Islam, because Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has appointed him to teach them. So he has some parchment. At that time there was no paper, so the Quran was being written on some in bits and pieces on the artifacts, and he probably have a stone or a leather or something on which the ayat was written, and he was teaching Surah Taha to them. So Umar radiallahu anhu came on the door and he heard the recitation of Quran of Surah Taha being recited. The chapter of Taha, Surah Taha was being recited inside, and he got more furious now. Okay, he banged on the door. When he banged on the door, Fatima and Said ibn Zayed got worried, and they said, "Who is there?" And Umar said, "It's me, your brother." So Fatima hid Khabbab ibn Arad somewhere inside the house, and she also hid the Quran, or the parchment, or the artifacts, on which the Quran was written, under her bed as well, or under the mattress, and opened the door. Umar entered the house, and he was already so furious that he said, what was going on here? What was the recitation going on here?" And Fatima, before Fatima could say anything, and he looked at Said and he said, "You, what are you doing here?" And he took, he tried to give a punch to Said ibn Zayd. Fatima came in between. The fight happened. Fatima came in between, and Fatima got a punch on her face, and she started bleeding from the mouth. When Umar saw his sister bleeding, his heart melted. Okay, and he becomes sorry that his sister has been injured because of him. So his temper goes down right away, and he said, "What's going on? What were you reciting? Bring the recitation to me." And Fatima said, "Well, no, I'm not going to give the recitation to you. I'm not going to give the Quranic revelation to you unless you purify yourself. Go take a bath, and do the wudu and come to me." And then she told Umar how to do the wudu, and Umar did the wudu, and he came in. She brought in Khabbab ibn Arad from the hiding place, and Surah Taha was recited to Umar radiallahu anhu. Umar radiallahu anhu only heard few ayats, the beginning of Surah Taha, and he decided to become a Muslim. So he said, "Where is Muhammad? I wanted to meet Muhammad." So Said ibn Zayd and Khabbab ibn Arad mentioned that he is in Darul Arqan. Darul Arqan is a house of another Muslim who has secretly accepted Islam from the Makhzum tribe. So Umar radiallahu anhu, still with the sword in his hand, went towards Darul Arqan, and he knocked on the door of Darul Arqan. Inside Darul Arqan, it was Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam there, and Hamza was also there, and there were other companions inside there, and they looked from the window, and they saw Umar radiallahu anhu holding the sword in his hand, and they said among themselves what to do. And Hamza said, "Let him come in. If he came here to cause any harm, we will fight and we'll kill him. But if he's coming for something good, then we will listen him." They opened the door. Umar radiallahu anhu came in, and they asked, and they said, "What do you want?" He said, "Where is Muhammad?" They said, "Muhammad is sitting there." So he went to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Hey Umar, why do you have came here?" And Umar said, "I have came here to accept Islam from your hand." And everybody was very happy. And this is how Umar radiallahu anhu becomes Muslim. And when he becomes Muslim, this was a big boost to Muslim. It was a big blow to the disbelievers or the enemies of Islam of that time. And the first thing that Umar did was, and Umar said, okay, you know, why we will go, I'll go out and pray in public. So he and Hamza formed two teams, and they went out in public in front of Kaaba. They prayed in front of everyone. Everyone watched them. So that everybody now knows that Umar has become a Muslim too. So this is the story of two major conversions that happened in the sixth year of prophethood, or sixth year of Dawah, as being recorded in the history books. Some lessons to learn from this conversion. Number one, remember the guidance comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should never give up hope on anyone. You can see how Umar radiallahu anhu, you know, you could at that before the conversion, people have no hope on him, right? That he will become a Muslim. But Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam never gave a hope on him. Prophet never gave a hope on Abu Jahl even. Abu Jahl died before he became Muslim, but his son became Muslim afterwards and become a very famous companion. But you know, the guidance come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We cannot force the guidance on someone. We cannot be, you know, lose hope in giving the guidance to the other. We should not lose hope in the enemies as well. Any day, any time, Allah can melt the heart of anyone and can give them or guide them, or he can guide them to the right path. That's number one. Number two, sometimes people with power, right, or people who are well known, the people who have a big huge fan following, right, they create a big impact, and they do create a big impact, right? And just in the case of Umar radiallahu anhu and Hamza radiallahu anhu, when they accepted Islam, more people accepted Islam because they created an impact on the others. In today's world also, we see that when a very famous, you know, person accepts Islam, then the news goes out all over the world, right? And other people get attracted to know what Islam is. A very clear example is example of, in this country, in America, the clear example is example of Muhammad Ali. And Muhammad Ali accepted Islam, many people become interested to know about Islam, and many people read about Islam, and many converted into Islam as well. Similarly, we have for example, the in Houston. I'm from Houston. In Houston, we have Hakeem Olajuwon. When Hakeem Olajuwon, although he was already a Muslim, but when he used to play basketball in fast, okay, clearly, you know, showing his uh, his faith, people get attracted towards Islam. People did read about Hakim Olajuwon, and many people accepted Islam because of him as well. So the people in the influential people, when they practice Islam or when they convert to Islam, it did create the impact on others. However, Islam is for all. We cannot pick and choose people to give dawah. We should be giving dawah to every individual, whether he's a rich or a poor or who not. Also, we learn is that even during the hiding, you know, even though Fatima and Saeed ibn Zayed were in hiding, they not publicly have declared their faith. Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did not, you know, spare any moment to teach them about Islam. He had assigned an individual who was already a convert for quite some time, who has a knowledge of the Quran now, or the teachings of Islam, and he's the person who was teaching them. So these are some of the lessons to learn. Then now, with the conversion of Hamza and Umar, the Quraysh got further worried, and they said that we have to do something. We have to, because now, you know, people in our own families here and there are becoming Muslim. Our kids are, especially the youth, are becoming Muslims. Our slaves are becoming Muslims. Is impacting our families. So we have to do something. So they went to Abu Talib, the leader of Banu Hashim, and they said, "Oh Abu Talib, give your nephew to us. If you're not going to give your nephew to us, then we are going to boycott you. We're going to go to a complete boycott." And what would the boycott would be? The boycott would be that we would not have from now onwards any our sons or daughters marrying in your family, in your tribe. We will not do any business transaction with you or with your family. We will not give you any food or even water if you need from us. We will do a complete social boycott of you. So if you give us Muhammad, and we will, this boycott would be not there. Otherwise, he'll give you. Otherwise, he'll boycott. Abu Talib, as he has made a promise to his nephew, he said that no, do whatever you want to do. I am not going to give Muhammad to you. So then these people, the enemies, these leaders of these tribes, they got together and they created a treaty. They wrote a treaty, and in that treaty they mentioned all the clauses: boycott in the marriage, boycott in the business transaction, boycott in the food and water, boycott in the social, no socialization at all with Banu Hashim. And they wrote that in a treaty, and they signed the treaty, all the tribal leaders, and they put it into a leather parchment or a cloth parchment or something, and they hanged it inside the Kaaba. And they said, this is our treaty that we all had agreed upon. Abu Talib, so now the Banu Hashim is boycotted. Abu Talib voluntarily decided to go out of Makkah, right, of the main city, and he went into the valleys of Makkah, which is his actually land. And this boycott lasted for 3 years. And in this 3 years, Muslims and non-Muslims, because Banu Hashim also has some tribal members who have not accepted Islam, right? But they are going through the prosecution as well. They're also going through the boycott. They have to suffer a lot. They have to suffer a lot in too much an extent that they sometimes have nothing to eat but to eat shrubs and leaves or weeds. They used to eat grass or those kind of stuff they were eating to survive. They have nothing to eat. They have no meat to eat, no bread to eat, nothing. And it was, the hunger was so much there that the cries of the children of Banu Hashim can be heard far away. They were out of hunger. They were hungry, right? They were crying. The hunger cries can be heard far away. Abu Jahl did not let them to do any kind of trading with the pilgrims as well. So can't even they do a trading with the pilgrims who used to come to Mecca, because they're not part of the Mecca. So they're not part of the treaty, right? So they can, in legally they can still do a trading with them, but Abu Jahl did not let them do that. So only on certain occasion there were some nice people among the enemies, or among the Quraysh, among the non-Muslims, like Mutam ibn Adi, one of the leader of a tribe. He felt pity on Muslims, and he used to do, on occasions, he used to send a camel filled of food, whatnot, and just towards the valleys of Banu Hashim. And Banu Hashim were very happy with the generosity of Mutam ibn Adi, and that was the food they would eat. This treaty lasted for 3 years, okay? And how this treaty came to an end, 3 incidents happened that brought this treaty to end. Number one was the famine in Mecca. So a famine broke out in Mecca, which could be a punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the oppressors. And their conditions become very bad. They couldn't serve, they were dying out of hunger as well. And because of that, some of the people realized that this current situation of famine in Mecca, in the city of Mecca, is because of oppression that they have done on the poor Muslims, right? On the Muslims. So they realized that this is the punishment of God on them, because they were still God conscious. They don't used to worship Allah alone, but they were God conscious. So some of them said, about 4 or 5 of them decided to fight against this oppression, and they said, we in the next meeting going to raise this, and we will break this treaty and bring our Banu Hashim tribe, which was kind of relatives to them as well, right, back, and we will have to end this boycott. So they got together, the meeting happened, and in those meetings they went with the plan, and they challenged Abu Jahl, and they said, you cannot have a boycott. How can you do that? And there's an uproar going on. There were commotions, there were arguments, and Abu Jahl was fighting back and saying, no, you signed the treaty, you cannot break the treaty, this and that. This is going on in the meeting. Meantime, Angel Jibreel came to Prophet Muhammad and told him that treaty has been eaten by termites. Everything is eaten in the treaty except Bismika Allahu. Prophet Muhammad told this to Abu Talib, and Abu Talib said, are you sure this has happened? He said, yes, my Allah has told me about giving this information. So Abu Talib said, I can base my, with this information, I'll go back and I will talk to the chief of Makkah, or the leaders of the Makkah. He entered in the meeting where all that discussion was going on, where all that argument was going on to end the treaty. And Abu Jahl was saying, you cannot do that, you signed it. And Abu Talib said, wait a minute, my nephew has told me that treaty is not no longer there. The treaty is already been eaten by termites, except with Bismika Allahu. And they said, wow, it's not possible, because the treaty was written, it was inside the, in that leather thing or whatever the covering was. So Abu Talib said that, well, I'm going to put a bet on this. If the treaty is not eaten by termites, then I myself will give Muhammad to you. But if the treaty is being eaten by termites, then you need to end the boycott. So they said they happily agreed to that because they thought nothing would happen. And the tribal tree, they opened the door of Kaaba. They went to the Kaaba. They brought, and they really found out exactly what Prophet Muhammad what Abu Talib has told them. The treaty was eaten by termites, and only Bismika Allah who was written there. And that's how the boycott came to end. 3 years of boycott. Some lessons to learn. Just remember from the incident that even sometimes when the oppression is caused, in the oppression, the non-Muslims also suffer. And we are seeing in present time as well in India, the people who was rising against the oppressions on the minorities in India by the majority people or by the fascist government there, though there are some non-Muslims who are rising against oppression as well, and those non-Muslims are also suffering. So they are not only putting the Muslims in the jail, but they're also putting the non-Muslims also in the jail, because they are raising their voice against the oppression. And not all non-Muslims are bad. They are bad and good people in all religion, in every society. So there are good people like Mutaim ibn Adi, right, or others who stood up against the oppression, right, in our present times as well. So we have to have good relationship with those who are against the oppression, and we ourselves should not do any oppression on anyone. And you and we should be always together with those who are being oppressed. So, for example, in America in today's time, with the Black lives being oppressed, we have to be with the Black lives movement. We have to be with them. We have to rise against the oppression, and we have to support the people who are being oppressed against the oppression. With this, inshallah, we will end our today's class, today's session. Once again, I will highly, highly encourage you all to seek the divine knowledge. Seek the knowledge that's going to benefit you in this world and hereafter. A guarantee that Allah has given it to us, that if you seek the divine knowledge and implement the divine knowledge in this life, you will be benefited in this world and the world hereafter. Support Al Huda University, take courses at Al Huda University, or give charity donation, or non donation, give scholarship to the students of Al Huda University. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.